Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to walk you through what I do to save money when booking flights. There's a ton of videos out there about travel hacking and using credit card points or airline miles. That's not what I'm going to do today. We'll go through the tools and websites I use and the best tricks to save money. Stay tuned for my step-by-step process for booking flights using real money, using Google Flights search engine and some other tools. Welcome to World Wanderers.
We're Alicia and Will.
Come wander the world with us. To show you exactly how I book a trip, we're going to do an example booking together. I'll leave a link of each website I use in the description below in case you'd like to go back and play around with them yourself after the video. Let's pretend that we want to take a trip to Dubrovnik, Croatia, one of my favorite cities in the world, and incidentally, the filming location of one of my favorite shows, Game of Thrones. When I book a trip, the first thing I always do is check out the prices of flights. I always like to start with flights because in my opinion, it's the biggest variable. Depending on how far out you're booking, what's going on in the destination that week, or the season, flight costs can vary drastically. So I start with flights so that I don't waste my time if they're outrageous and I want to save the trip for another time. To book any flight, we're going to use the search engine Google Flights. So you can head straight to google.com/travel/flights, or you can Google Flights and click the first link. The first thing to look at above the search box is where it says Roundtrip. This is going to be essential for getting the cheapest rate. The majority of the time, a round-trip flight is going to be cheaper than booking 2 one-way flights. A round-trip flight involves departing from one location to another and then returning to the original departure point. Even if you're considering visiting multiple cities or locations on a trip, I've often found it's worth the time to return to the original airport I flew into to save a significant chunk of money by purchasing a round-trip flight. So we're going to leave it as round trip, select the number of people, and then select our class of flight. I always leave this as economy because I'm looking for the best deal. I've only ever flown business class once in my life, and that was actually by accident. I was looking for the cheapest last-minute flight available to Iceland a few years back and figured that prices were just high for those dates. It wasn't until I was boarding the plane and looked at my seat number that I realized I had actually paid for business class. It was a happy accident. Anyway, now we're going to select our departure airport. Depending on how big your metropolitan area is, you may have different origin airport options. For example, I live in Miami, Florida. I could just put in the airport code for Miami, which is MIA, but you'll notice that there's a little plane symbol next to the airport. That means I'm narrowing my search results down to just flights that leave from Miami International Airport. But you'll notice the second search result is showing a location pin next to it. This means I am choosing the city of Miami as my origin. Fort Lauderdale Airport is only about a half hour away from the Miami airport, so I want to make sure that flights leaving from there are included in my search as well. Because I'm definitely willing to drive a little further to get a better deal or a better itinerary, which could even save me time overall. If I click on the box again, you'll notice that I now have the 2 closest airports nested under the city of Miami, and it'll be searching both locations for available flights. The same thing is going to apply to the destination search box if there's multiple airport options. So if I type in Dubrovnik, you'll notice there's only one airport option. But for demonstration purposes, let's say we were flying to London, one of the most airport concentrated places on the planet. You'll notice that there's 6 airports that'll populate and 1 train station that might also have a connection option as well. So you're likely to get a much better search result by choosing the city and not the airport. Just be sure to check where the physical airport is so that you're not surprised with an expensive Uber or taxi ride once you get there and realize that you might be further from the city or from your destination. But back to Dubrovnik. Once you click into the departure box, you'll notice that the bottom of the box states showing prices in US dollars for 7-day trips. Your currency will adjust based on your location, but if you know how long of a trip you'd like to plan, I suggest using the arrows to adjust the length. This will update prices on the calendar to be more accurate and allow you to see if it might be cheaper to leave on a different day. So let's pretend I want to go for 5 days. You'll see the prices adjust. At this point, I can either type in my date or use the arrows on the sides of the boxes to scroll through the calendar. So let's say I want to leave on September 1st. I'll click the date and you'll notice the prices update showing all my return options. For my 5-day trip, I'll see that the price is $804 to return on Thursday, but looking at the calendar, maybe I'd rather come back on Saturday when the flight is $78 cheaper. So I'll select my return day, hit done, and then hit search. Google Flights will automatically sort by what it considers to be the best flights. It has an algorithm that decides based on a number of factors like price, number of stops, layovers, etc. I like to immediately sort by price so that I can see all the available options and decide for myself. For example, it may be worth it to me to save several $100s by dealing with a 10-hour layover if there's something or someone that I want to see in the layover city. Or it might be worth it to me to pay a little more for a direct flight versus a flight with multiple connections that's going to take 20 hours longer or require me to get a hotel if I don't want to sleep on the floor of a terminal during an overnight layover. So at this point, I'll scroll through the list of options and pick the one that works the best for me. It's worth noting that the prices displayed include the cost of the ticket and the taxes and fees only. In today's world of low-cost carriers, it's important to compare apples to apples if you plan on checking a bag or selecting a seat, or you want them to serve you a bottle of water. Low-cost carriers often charge extra for these services that may make them even more expensive options than the carriers that include these extras in their basic fares. Also, keep an eye out for the red text that says separate tickets booked together. This means that you're actually booking 2 separate flights on 2 different airlines. Now, Google Flights will normally not suggest this option if there's a tight connection between the flight legs, but remember that if anything should happen that delays your first flight and you miss the second flight, they're not responsible for refunding or rebooking you. So just take that risk into account when you're selecting flights and make sure you have a long layover between flights. So selecting your departing flight choice from the list, and then you'll do the same thing for your return flight. You'll now see both of your selected flights at the top of the page. If you hit the down arrow, it'll show you some more details about the flight, and you'll be able to see a change button that will allow you to go back and pick a different flight. Below this, you'll see booking options. Even if there's a bit of a price difference, I usually recommend booking direct with the airline. If you have any issues or need to change or cancel your flight, or the airline makes a change that doesn't work for you, it's a huge hassle if you haven't booked direct. Below the booking option, you'll also see a bar that indicates the value you're getting for the flight. It'll let you know if this is a good price for the flight or if you could have gotten it cheaper by booking sooner or later in some cases. I'm going to hit continue to book the flight. Since Google Flights is simply a search engine, it's going to take me to another website to book. At this point, I'm just booking regularly as if I had initially done the search on the airline's website. You can add bags, seat selection, upgrade, whatever options you'd like at this point. However, before I hit book, I like to check if there's any cashback available. I do this by going to the website Rakuten.com. This is a free site that you can sign up for that rewards you with cashback for your online shopping. It has awesome deals on Priceline and Expedia, which I use regularly, but will also sometimes have a good deal for Airline. You can see that I've earned over $1,500 cash back so far by simply searching for the website I'm shopping on and clicking the link to shop through Rakuten. You can also choose either American Express reward points or cashback as an option. Here we can see I've gotten cash back from Priceline and Expedia recently, as well as some retail stores too. If you want to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you use my referral code, I believe right now you'll get an extra 10% cash back. But anyway, you'll just search for your airline. So for example, if I search for Emirates and hit the Shop Now button, it'll take you to their website and book as you normally would, and it makes no difference to you other than you'll get cash back after you've completed the travel or the card has been charged. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like so that YouTube knows to recommend it to travelers like you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I plan on sharing how I find great hotel deals next, so be sure to subscribe so you're notified when the video becomes available. Safe travels!